Hey everybody, happy Friday. Welcome to Lyle's Friday podcast. I have a special edition for you today. I didn't post a new video last week because we were all very busy installing a new set of headlights and taillights on a C6 Corvette. Very exciting product because it actually makes things better, brighter, and for roughly the same price that you're going to pay to re-lens one of the originals. What I mean by re-lensing is when you look at C6 headlights, oftentimes you'll see that they're going yellow, or when the lights are on, you can see crazing and millions of tiny cracks in here. What that is a result of the UV light eating away at this clear plastic over time. And one of the services we offer here is we will take your headlights out of your car, we will send them off into the guy that we know who does this stuff. He will put brand new DOT lenses on, ship them back, we'll put them back in your car. They will be like brand spanking new, gorgeous. And they cost about $1,200. That's great if you want to keep your stock lights. The downside is C6 lights are not terribly bright at night. C5s and C6s both. If you drive a more modern car, drive a C7, drive a new Cadillac, they make it look like daylight out there when you're driving at night. These guys, not so much. So $1,200 to put new lenses on your existing headlights. It's not bad, but now there's another option. The video I've made for you shows you how to remove these lights from your car. So if you're going to pull them and have them sent off, pull them, send them to me, whatever, so that you can get new lenses on, the video I'm going to show you here in a minute shows you exactly how to do that. But it also shows us installing a new set of brand new to the market full LED headlights and taillights for the 2005 to the 2013 Corvette. Any C6, they are no incandescent bulbs whatsoever, full LED, sequential turn signal option. They have the C7 daytime running light in them, and they are literally like the surface of the sun. They are super bright. They don't produce any heat, and they use a lot less electricity draw on your system than these guys do. So you're going to see that video come up next. If you're not really concerned with how to install them, go ahead and fast forward through a little bit until you get to see Ray, our head tech, where he starts putting the new lights in, and headlights and taillights, and you'll get a better look at those there. Really cool product for the same price as fixing your originals. So once you have this video watched, if you have questions about the product, let me know. You can always find me at lyle@corvettepartscenter.com or at 1-800-886-5064. I'm very excited about this product. We've already got half a dozen of our local customers lined up to do these, and man, they're just badass. That's all I can say. Take a look. So today's video, you're going to see our lead tech, Dr. Ray, working on removing the headlights from this C6 Corvette. You can see he's going to start by removing the wheels to get easier access to some of the pins and screws that he's going to have to remove under the rear bumper and in the splash panels behind the rear bumper to pull that off. What he's showing you here is the locations of all these little push pins that you're going to have to use a pry tool or a small flat screwdriver to remove. You don't want to lose these, and they often, like they just did, you'll see it come apart in two pieces. Make sure to keep both pieces. And obviously you're going to repeat this on both sides of the car. Now we have access to the underside of the headlight and the parking lamp so that we can remove the parking lamp. You're actually going to unplug that as Ray is doing it here, and then you're going to remove it completely from the bumper and set it aside. What Ray's struggling with is basically you have to pinch a plastic retainer to get it out of the bumper. That's fighting him more than normal. There we go. Got to be careful with those because the plastic gets brittle with age, and I'm sure that's why he was taking his time, so he didn't actually break that pin. Now you see him removing the nuts from the front bumper retainer brackets that hold the front fascia to the upper fender. Always a good idea to have some masking tape on hand, particularly the blue non-stick bodywork masking tape that you see Ray using here. What he's explaining is he's going to lay all this tape out and kind of cover the edges of the front bumper and the very edge of the front of the hood, so that as he goes to remove the bumper, he doesn't scratch it or the hood. You'll see later on in the video too that he's going to use that same tape around the openings, the headlight openings on the fender, so that as he puts the headlights in, he doesn't scratch them or the fenders. Yeah, there's the tape under the hood. Ray is now removing several of the little torque screws along the top edge of the inner fender so that he can move and manipulate the front of that fender when it comes time to remove the headlights. You're going to do this also, both sides of the car. Now removing it looks to be the 10mm nuts along the top edge of the front fascia. I'm getting real close to removing the bumper, and obviously Ray, you can see, is being very careful not to disturb the hood or anything else with his tools, because one slip here and you can end up with a scratch that you're going to have to stare at forever. Nicely done. Now you're going to see Ray start to pull up on the bumper here, and he feels that it's binding on something, so he doesn't want to force it. So he's going to go back and he's going to open the hood. He's going to manipulate it up a little bit. He's going to close the hood again. And now it should lift straight off. And if he's gone ahead and disconnected the screws that run along the bottom along the air dams and unplugged the fog lamps, the entire front bumper assembly comes off nice and clean, just like that. Here it is in super speed fashion. As he gets those nuts out on that side, you can see the fender drop. You can see the front bumper drop away from the fender, and that's what we're looking for. All right, with the front bumper removed, we're ready to start removing headlights. Very important. There are two little screws on tabs at the very front of the fenders. You can see that right next to the headlight right there in that shot. Do not attempt to lift that fender out of place without taking those out, because if you break that tab, you're going to need a fender. Raise it up a little bit so he doesn't have to bend over the whole time. You can do this job on the ground on jack stands, but it is less fun by far. Right now Ray is unplugging the headlight from underneath. There we go. Now there's a bunch of 10mm nuts. That's the last fender retainer. Now he's going after the 10mm nuts under the headlight itself. Again, as you take these out, do not lose them because you're going to be reusing them very shortly. We are moving the fender up a little bit so we can access and lift the headlight bolts out of their holes and slide the headlight straight out of the opening. There we are. Now, if you were removing those to be sent off to have new lenses put on them, obviously you'd box them up and send them to me. However, if you wanted to do something really cool for about the same money, you'd be putting these in your car. These are from a company named Morimoto, and they are brand new, direct replacement, plug and play, full LED headlights for the C6 Corvette. And you're going to see Dr. Ray carefully peel back a little of that plastic, not much, drop the plug in, lift the fender a little bit so that he can get that light slid into place. And there it is. Now that the plastic covering's removed, we can see some of the design cues on these new headlights. You can see the white daytime running light strip, a la the C7 Corvette. You can see the single LED bulb opening, and then you can see the 6 LEDs for the turn signals / hazard lights. One of the cool things about these headlights is when you install them, you have the option to have those blink solidly in unison, or you can have them blink sequentially. It's just a matter of one plug being plugged in or not. It is extremely cool. These headlights also come with an additional harness, so if you want to wire in your daytime running lights to be on when you're parked, you can do so. Great thing for car show guys or whatever. LEDs take very, very little power. There he is firing it up. And even from here you can see the intensity difference between the stock light on your left and the LED light on your right. Now, when Ray activates the high beams on these, there isn't actually a second bulb. What there is a metal shield that mechanically slides out of the way and just allows the bulb to shine fully rather than being cut off part way for low beam. And of course there you see the sequential LEDs for the turn signals and the hazards. I think that is probably the coolest feature on these lights. It's very similar to a Ferrari 458, 488, and it really adds character to the car. A note as you're watching this video, you see those LEDs on the daytime running lights pulsing. You obviously do not see that when you're standing by the car. That is simply a function of how the camera sees it and the pulsation. There is no pulsation when you're looking at it with the naked eye. Yeah, that is just legit. Very cool, very modern. And here we're going to have another high-speed montage of Ray removing and replacing headlights, and it'll give you an idea of how differently the car looks from the front with the new lights as opposed to the old ones. Just looking at those lights that he's removing, you can see how they're kind of dull and hazy, and how different it is when he puts the new ones in. As I said, Ray now taping off that fender. Be careful. Passenger side headlight going in, seated nicely. Tape removed. And there's kind of what it looks like when it's all back together. And he's going to turn them on for you so you can get an idea of the look and the intensity. And there's the hazards. One of the things that strikes me about these new headlights is that they really give the car a up-to-the-minute look. They look very high dollar. The quality is outstanding, and the brightness levels of everything that happens with these is far beyond what was available in stock. Another great thing about the replacement lights is, unlike your stock lights, which came in the same color as your car, and if you have to replace them, you have to find lights that are the same original color as your car, these black ones fit every car, every color, and look fantastic with every color. They look particularly good in white, yellow, silver, red. Any of the brighter tint colors, they really set them off, just like you'll see on the C7. And as you see Ray buttoning everything back up, there's nothing terribly difficult about removing the front bumpers on these cars. Once you're under there, it's all pretty self-explanatory about where the screws and bolts go. Part of the reason we didn't go into too great a detail on this, because if you're struggling with that, you shouldn't be replacing the headlights yourself anyway. There we are, finished product, looking good. Now we go to the back of the car, and we get to replace the stock taillights with LED taillights from the same company, Morimoto. They come in two colors, smoke, which is like a darkened clear lens, similar to what you might see on a later Z06 or ZR1, or in the traditional red. This particular customer wanted to go with the smoked lenses. I think they look fantastic on this crystal red car. The cool thing about them is the design for these taillights was cribbed directly from the Ferrari 488. And it is just a very vibrant, cool, futuristic but simplistic LED ring with a deeply recessed reflector in the middle of the lamp. And as you can see, Ray just plugs it in. There are two guide tabs there on the bottom that you have to kind of slot in, And once you get those started in the rear bumper, you simply tilt the rest of the tail light up and put in the single retaining screw at the top. Perfect. And while it's difficult to tell from this angle, that recess looks really, really good, where you can see that reflector sitting back in the center of it. It very much looks like the car was designed to have it, and when they light up, it's an entirely different world, as you'll see here in just a minute when Ray plugs the next one in. I'm sure most of you are familiar with LEDs in some facet of your life these days. You're probably aware that LEDs like these should last an average of 40,000 hours. If you can spend 40,000 hours in your Corvette and it's still running, you are doing really, really, really well. Point being, once you've installed these, the odds of you ever having to replace them are basically zero during the life of the car. Alright, second light in. Hey Ray, why don't you walk over and turn those on? Oh yeah, yeah. And it is just a pure round ring. Obviously considerably brighter than the older lights. And we'll go ahead and turn the flashers on so you can see just how bright they get compared to the originals. Something else I want to emphasize here is you'll notice how quickly they illuminate as opposed to the original incandescents. It takes the incandescents about half a second to get to full brightness, whereas the LEDs get to full brightness instantaneously. In an emergency braking situation, that half second might make a real difference to the person behind you. For as cool as they are, I actually think they're probably considerably safer on highways, especially in inclement weather where you may have rain or fog or snow and things are a little bit difficult to see. These things are so bright they will cut straight through any obstruction. So now we're going to look at Ray do these in high speed again. Again, doing the taillights, it's only 4 screws, 1 per headlight, unplug and replug, and you're ready to go. So this is a really, really cool way to update your car, make it a little bit safer and make it look a little more modern. Alright, front of the car before, kind of hazy, kind of Taillights, not bad, but every other Corvette looks just like that. After, you can see the presence and the stance that those headlights give the car. It is immediately noticeable when you see this car on the street that something is different about it, especially when you see the turn signals go on. And of course the taillights, pure red rings, super bright and instantaneously illuminated. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have questions, don't hesitate to contact me regarding the headlights and taillights from Morimoto, which we are a dealer for, or if you want just to have your original C6 headlights recovered, we can do that for you too. Give us a call, 800-886-5064. See you next week.